Star 94.1.
Hey friends, it's me Alyssa and this is Live in Local Atlanta. I'm here with my amazing friend, he's super positive, Keith, Mr. I'm Positive Brown, and he is talking to us all about positivity, positive vibes, some of his books, and so much more. Keith, how did you become Mr. I'm Possible?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm delighted, ignited, and excited to be here with awesome Alyssa, where the A is for advocating, the L is for leader, the Y is for yearning, the S is for sincere, the S is for significant, and the last A is for ascending because you are going up in life. And shout out to Kennesaw State University. You know, the home of the Owls. You know what time it is.
Thank you. Hootie hoo.
Oh, there it is. There it is. We got to get that hootie hoo in there.
Hootie
So
hoo.
I'm just so excited to be here today. I want to give a shout out to Adrienne Allen, the best publicist on the planet, the IPY agency. And she is one who is helping to enhance that I'm possible message, where I take individuals from impossible to it's possible to I'm possible. I speak to hundreds of thousands of young people across the globe annually, and the young people actually branded me Mr. I'm Possible. And it was primarily the young people in the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia when I did a lot of advocacy work with them. And so that was a name that stuck. It was a name that I was able to embrace and own. A lot of times in life, we are given names that are not so positive. But that Mr. I'm Possible name, it was given to me, it stuck, and so now I'm known nationally and internationally as Mr. I'm Possible, because it's never impossible, it's always I'm possible.
I love that. You know, the first time I heard that breakdown of impossible as I'm possible was actually in church like a bazillion years ago.
Yes.
But it's always one of those things that has stuck with me, just like when people say no is an acronym for next opportunity.
Yes.
And you have this incredible gift of uplifting people, empowering them. How did you discover you really had this gift?
Well, this is a lifetime gift. When I was a small child, I was always hyperactive. I was always energetic. As a matter of fact, I was so hyperactive and energetic. In school, I was labeled special ed. I was labeled special ed because they said I was too hyper, I talked too much, and I wanted to give all the answers. Let me say that again. I was too hyper, I talked too much, and I wanted to give all the answers. Ironically, those are the same traits that take me across the world as a motivational speaker, coach, and trainer, because to this day, I'm still hyper, I still talk too much, and I still desire to bring solutions to everyone I meet on the planet. And so it evolved out of childhood. That gift of being a people's person, that gift of always wanting to inspire others, motivate others, and empower others. So it didn't just start yesterday. It's something that is a part of me. And when people often say what I do is not who I am, well, it's just the opposite for me. Many times what I do is who I am, because I motivate professionally, I motivate personally. I empower professionally, I empower personally. So that's been the evolvement of what I do and who I am as one who inspires.
I love that. You and I are akin on that. All my life I've been told I'm too hyper.
Yes.
And I talk way too much, which is how I ended up in this chair today.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about your I'm Possible Institute and your vision. I know you just kind of briefly gave us the history, but let's talk about the I'm Possible Institute.
Absolutely. The I'm Possible Institute is an institute of coaching and training and personal and professional development, not just for adults, but for youth, for young adults as well. We have the 3 I's: impact, influence, and income. That's what we do at the I'm Possible Institute. We motivate, we elevate, we educate, and they graduate. Let me say that again. We motivate, we elevate, we educate, and they graduate. It's all about enhancing your impact, because your impact drives your influence. Your influence will drive your income. A lot of times we don't want to talk about income, but income is very important as well. I can't go into the grocery store and purchase groceries on love. I can't pay my mortgage with love. So we want individuals to understand that they are deserving of expanding impact, influence, and income. And so we train individuals at the I'm Possible Institute to go out and to live their purpose with purpose on purpose. But here's the key component. We build excellent communicators. And you being a communications major, you know the importance of being an effective communicator. And so not only just being an effective communicator, you have to connect. That's what we teach at the I'm Possible Institute. Anyone who you're conversing with, you have to connect. And so at the end of the day, we all about connection. We're all about empowerment, but we're all about building that impact, influence, and income. And that influence has less to do about who you are, but the solutions that you bring to the planet every day.
Absolutely. We're heading straight into the holiday season. And I have to ask, what are some quick tips to get people started or feeling good right into the holidays? It's one of those times of the year people feel bad,
yes.
Maybe they feel good. It's hard to say. What are some quick tips that they can feel empowered with?
Absolutely. The holiday season is right around the corner. As a matter of fact, I woke up thinking about that. Hence the shirt that I'm wearing today. This is one of my original quotes. Don't lease your peace. I want to look right at your listeners right now and say, don't lease your peace. During the holiday season, when I say don't lease your peace, to lease something means that you give it away for a certain time period, for a certain season. Many times we see that in real estate, home ownership, leasing, renting. But when it comes to your peace of mind, it's something you can't afford to lease for a minute, for an hour, for a day, week, month, year, for example. So I say don't lease your peace. Your peace of mind matters. You're going to have holiday gatherings, Thanksgiving, Christmas. The first tip I would say is this. Protect your peace of mind and spirit. And that simply means if being around family members is going to upset your peace of mind, place you in a position where you don't feel safe, then I would suggest, number one, that you don't attend those events and that you don't let those individuals come into your space and upset the peace that you want in your own space. That's number one. Number two, don't feel guilty when you have to remove yourself from family members and others who may then minimize your peace of mind. That's very important. It's often been said, Alyssa, that blood is thicker than water. We've all heard that, right? And I like to say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood clots, but water flows. Let me say that again. You don't have to sit up to say that because this is real, right? Sometimes blood clots, but water flows. And that simply means there may be some family members who are not necessarily acting like your blood, but they are blood clots. And that causes a disease in your spirit, in your mind, your body, your emotions, your whole makeup. And I call it a disease, but it's a dis-ease. And you don't deserve that. And so you want to surround yourself with people during the holidays who are positive, who are nurturing, who are uplifting. And I think that's very important. So the message I would have today is, number one, surround yourself with positive friends, positive family members. Number two, once again, don't lease your peace. And number three, don't feel guilty when you have to remove yourself from toxic situations that upset your peace of mind and spirit, because undoubtedly it's not just you, but it's those who you live with as well. So that's very important today. The message for the holidays, don't lease your peace. Your peace of mind matters.
Absolutely. I want to talk about, you've got this incredible book here today, Talk is Expensive.
Ah, yes.
And you've got a wonderful library of books, actually.
Yes.
But let's talk about this one specifically.
All of our lives we've heard talk is cheap. We've heard that. It's been ingrained into our minds. It's been ingrained into us from educational days, community, faith-based institutions. Just as a universal premise, we often hear talk is cheap. And then another saying we often hear is actions speak louder than words. And I believe that. But here's the issue. Actions may speak louder than words, but it's the words that move people to action. Think about that. Actions may speak louder than words, but it's the words that move people to action. And so those who can communicate effectively, those who can communicate and connect, once again, connect with those who they're speaking with, that's expensive. Because many times I talk to a lot of college students, college scholars, I like to say, and they go into interviews and they may have a high GPA, but they don't know how to communicate effectively. They don't know how to communicate their ideas. And they may lose the position based on the fact that they couldn't communicate effectively. That's expensive because you may lose an opportunity that you would be great for, but you could not communicate your ideas effectively in that interview. And so, once again, talk is expensive. When you are being addressed by others or you're addressing others and they're positive, that's expensive as well, because what does that do? That builds your self-worth. That builds your value. But think about when you were a child or when you were a young adult and someone spoke negative into your life, and now you're walking around carrying that as an adult. That's expensive because it halts your progress. It stunts your purpose. And so I would like to say talk is never cheap. Talk is always expensive. Communicating effectively, once again, to expand your impact, your influence, and your income. And so that's why I think it's very important that we have to watch what we say. You know, we often said what? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. No, it's not what you say. It's not how you say it. It's how they interpret what you said. Let me say that again. It's not what you say. It's not how you say it. It's how they interpret what you said. So talk is never cheap, never has been cheap. It's always expensive.
That is so deep. I want to switch gears a little bit so we can have a little bit of fun and throw some rapid fire questions at you.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You're good.
What is the hardest letter to come up with a positive affirmation? Because you've came up with these I terms.
Yeah.
You've come up with all these rhyming,
Absolutely.
phrases to empower people. What's the hardest letter to work with?
Q.
Q.
Because I always say quintessential.
I had a feeling you were going to say Q, and I kept thinking in my brain, what words do I know with Q? Quality. That's
yes,
it.
quality, quotient, okay, quantity. You just gave me that with quality because I've never used quality. That's amazing. But quintessential. And then Z. You know, I'm always on zestful. I don't go to Zodiac, but I'm like zestful.
Yeah, my brain went straight to zebra.
But here's the other one. Can I say this? I'm talking about people whose name starts with an X, right? So I always go excellent. I put a small E and the capital X, So yeah, so the Q, the Z, but once it's team building, you know what you just did for me today? That was positive. You gave me new words, quality. I'm going to use that now. So it's very important that you surround yourself with people who can help affect your life in a positive way and not infect your life in a negative way. So listen, that was
He did it again.
Oh yeah, that was a quality.
He's a master of words.
Come on now. Wordsmith is very important. All my life.
Absolutely. Okay. If you had to put the holidays in order, how are you ordering them?
In terms of
favorite, whether it's food, family time, which is it?
Listen. Christmas would be number one because Christmas is a time where everyone can be in the spirit of giving. I'm all about giving, and I'm all about unlocking the gifts that lie on the inside of us. I always use this analogy. I love Christmas because many times you see small children and older children, and they are, gathering around the tree. One night I remember sleeping under the tree when I was small, sleeping under the tree. I tell people today, sleep under the Christmas tree, right? Christmas Eve, just sleep there. They say, why? I say, because you're a gift. But here's the thing. When you get a gift during the holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, right? When you get this gift, it normally comes in a box, right? There's a lot of wrapping paper around it, a lot of colorful wrapping paper, the blues, the oranges, the purples, the reds. And what do we do with that wrapping paper? We tear it off. And that's symbolic of life. Every item outside of what's on the inside of you, that's just wrapping paper. A lot of times where you work is wrapping paper. The vehicle you drive is wrapping paper. The home you live in is wrapping paper. But here's the thing. In order for us to reach the total fulfillment of our I'm possibilities, you have to do what? You have to open the gift, because the real quality of the gift is on the inside. If you never open the gift, then you don't maximize the receiving phase. You don't maximize your happiness and your joy. So I love Christmas because it's a time where I can once again coach, train, and teach individuals about the gift that lies within. And I think that is so very important. So I would say Christmas is number one. And then, of course, Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving would be number two because it's an opportunity for me and others to come together with family members and just to be grateful and thankful, not because of, but in spite of. Because we all have things that we're dealing with now. Either you're in a crisis, you just left one, or you're headed towards one. But Thanksgiving is that season where you can come together, you can share, you can be thankful, and you can be grateful. So I would say Christmas and then Thanksgiving.
Last rapid fire question. What is a word that absolutely makes you cringe when you hear it?
A term that makes me cringe when I hear it is can't. Can't. And so many people use that term. It is such a popular term, but I believe that can't never could, never will, and never would. Can't. All right. You when you say can't, you're already defeating yourself. When you tell a child or a young person you can't, when you start saying that to yourself, you can't, then you're already defeated before you start. I teach individuals that you should have a I can't funeral. And what that simply looks like, the I can't funeral, is when you take a sheet of paper and you write down maybe 5 things or ideas that you believe you can't do, you can't accomplish. You were told that you can't accomplish these things. And I want you to write them down. And then I want you to start saying these 4 affirmations that I teach children, young people, and adults as well. I can, I will, I must, I've got this. Very powerful. I can, I will, I must, I got this. You take that sheet of paper with the I can't, you ball it up, you say a eulogy, right? Those 4 affirmations. You put that paper in the trash and you start moving from can't to can. You start moving from the negative to the positive. You start moving from the minimum way of thinking to the maximum way of thinking. And so I teach individuals to remove the word can't from your vocabulary and say, I can, I will, I must, and I've got this. And that will also take you from impossible to I'm possible, because so many have their growth stunted based on the I can't that lies in their minds and their spirits most of their lives.
Absolutely. I love it. Keith, how can people get in touch with you? How can they read any of your amazing books? Where can they find you? Okay,
you can definitely order the book at keithlbrown.com, one of 9 or 10 books that we have in our library. keithlbrown.com is the website. My Instagram, which most people are on, Instagram is Keith L. Brown _ Keith L. Brown _. And then for any appearances or anything of that nature, the awesome Adrian Allen, Adrienne at the IPYagency.com. Adrian at the IPYagency.com, where we like to say the IPY agency, IP, no need to ask why. Agency. And so that's how you can get Keith L. Brown, Mr. I'm Possible, also affectionately known as Uncle Keith, because I've built a relationship with children and young people who call me Uncle Keith. And so it's just been a pleasure and an honor to sit in the chair with you on today and sit under the great work that you're doing as well. 2 fellow communicators. That's what it's all about. Communication yes. Brings elevation. Elevation brings acceleration.
I love it. I love it. This has been Live in Local Atlanta. I'm Alyssa, and if you want to hear conversations just like this one with Mr. I'm Possible, be sure and download the free Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY inside the App Store. Make sure you favorite Star 94 Atlanta inside the Odyssey app. If you want to stay up to date with me, you can follow me across all social media at itsme_Alyssa D, and follow Star 94 Atlanta across all social media at Star 94 Atlanta. I'll see you guys next time.
Star 94.1.